All right, hello once again. Jeff Scott, formerly of Rankin Technical College. And as part of my YouTube channel, as you can see right here, JPS-Jeff Teaches Programming, which currently has about 50 some odd videos in it, in one YouTube playlist called Jeff Teaches Programming-Python, I've been going over the Python programming language. I started with the idea that people had little to no knowledge of Python, and we went from there. We've gone through kind of not the gamut, but we've gone through most everything in the language. And what I mean by that, and they've all been, we haven't done anything GUI, we haven't done anything with Python with websites. We haven't done that. But as far as writing console programs, all right, we did procedural programming, basically object-oriented programming, data structures, files, all right, and a lot of other stuff. We've been working the last few lectures on databases, and in particular, I have been taking this database that you can see right here that's called SalesOrders. And I have created all 8 of the tables. And all of the tables, except for order details, I have filled with data. So if I go and look at this, you can see, and I did fix this from before. I had to go and do a little bit of work with the numbering, but that was no biggie. All right. So what is left in here then? The only one that is really left is going in and doing the last one. And the last one in here was, if I go back to here, this one. And that is, I need insert order details records, and that is IOR det. I for insert, OR for orders, DET or ORD for orders, and DET for details. And finally, I need to come down to the very bottom here, undo that, change that to this, and then undo it. Now that's that should be all the changes I need for this file. Of course, not for the insert order details file. So let's do that one. I'm sorry, order detail records, not orders. We just did the orders. All right, so let's look at this. Now, this is the one with 3,000 some records. All right, so I'm going to get rid of this. And again, it is going to make this a humongously large file. So let's, before we even put those in, let's make a bunch of changes in here. So that'll be order details. This will be order detail. All right. This will be order detail. This will be order details. All right. And we want to insert into order details. And what do we have in there? Let's take a quick look. There it is. We have, looks like about 4 fields: order ID, product ID, order detail quoted price, and order detail quantity ordered. That's what it looks like we have in there. So let's change that to this. All right, we'll have 4 fields in here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can get rid of the other 4 that are here. All right, we'll change this to order details query. All right, and copy that here and here. All right, so select star from order details. Okay. Now there's a bunch of things that are going to have to be changed in here, so let's kind of take it from the top. Well, this is insert order details records. So there's the first one. All right. Insert each order details record. Order details, good. Order detail, good. multiple order details. Let's do it like this. Insert it into the table. All right. These are the order details in the order details table, and we'll do it here as well. All right, I saw something up here. It said employees. All right. Now, again, we have 4 fields in here, so it'll be 0, 1, 2, and 3. So we can get rid of everything else that comes after that. All right. And the first one will be, we got order ID and product ID here. All right, so that will be order, order ID. This will be product ID. All right, then we have quoted price and quantity ordered. All right, so this is quoted price. We will add a $sign there. Whoops, not in there, of course. Right there. Finally, quantity ordered. Okay. Now, if I have missed anything, we'll find it out right now. So File, Save All. Let's come in here and do a Control F, and let's look for EMP, for employee. No results, so we've changed all of them. All right, so I believe at least the only thing I have to do here is to come into here and put in the data, which is huge. All right, it's right here. All right, order details. I don't want the word values in there anymore. So search, replace, values, we want to place that with nothing. And we also want to come in here and do it for the entire thing. So there we go. All right, if I get down now to the, well, let's just do it like this. It's going to take 1.5 years, but that's fine. This is taking way too long. So let's go back up to the top. Click here to start. And then I'm just going to move this down. All the way down to the bottom. All right. And I'm going to go right here because the last one that we're doing, we do not need a comma for. So let's see. So that one. All right, Control C to copy. And Control V to paste. Now again, it's screwed up as far as the tabbing, so let's fix that just like we did before. So I'm going to start here in line 2, go to the end here, and then bring this down. A little easier when you're working with this editor than with what I was doing before. All right, right there. And we're just going to tab it twice. I don't know if that's right or wrong for the tabbing. Looks like I could tab this over now once. Okay, so now I'm done. Now, will this work? I don't have a flaming clue, but I'm going to try it. So File, Save All. I'm going to go back to this one right here, check and see if I have the database. I do. So I'm going to delete it. All right. And again, I'm going to come in, I'm just going to save both of these. So File, Save. File, Save. Let's close this. Go back to the file we want to run and move this up to the top here. And we'll run it. Again, there might be errors in here, and it is fine. All right? Now, when you look at this, it looks like we've got the data. There it is. Order ID, product ID, quoted price, and quantity ordered. It looks like we've got all those. All right? Now, the bad thing is when I come up to the top here, it's not showing me any more than this. And what that means, well, just so you know, what that means is probably there's a buffer in here that only holds a certain amount. But I'm thinking that it's okay. Maybe it's not, but I'm thinking that it is. All right? I'm thinking everything is cool right now. Again, I could be wrong. Sure wouldn't be the first time. But before I finish up here, there's two things I want to talk about. All right? So File, Save. Let's just quit this. All right, so what we've done in here, when you take a look, all right, I'm sure I could have written this much better, and I will in the future. But when you look right here, what we have done in this file, this is our main. So we came in here, and as it says, I created the 8 tables. That isn't really creating them. It's importing where I'm going to be able to create all that and the database connection. And DB connection in the sales orders database. That's what I've done here. Then here, as it says, this is going to allow us to fill each of the 8 tables with their associated records. So there's nothing new there. All right, then we've got main. As it says, we first attempted to connect to the database. We need that connection. We're passing it everywhere in here. Then we attempted to create the categories table. Then we attempted to create the customers table. This is just setting up the schema. Then we created the employees table, then the vendors table, then the products table, then the product vendors table, then the orders table, and finally the order detail table. All right? To prove that all that worked, I went out, as you can see here, into Geeks for Geeks and found this listing on how to list tables using SQLite 3 in Python. So what that did was it listed all of the tables that exist under the sales orders database, which were the 8 we just mentioned. All right. Then we created our cursor object, and we basically executed that query and printed the results. All right. Next, we came in, and for each one of the 8 tables, we attempted to insert all of the records into that particular table one at a time. And you saw this. All right? So we inserted the category records, then the customer records, then the employee records, then the vendor records, then the product records, then the product vendor records, then the order records, then the order detail records. That was main. Now, good, bad, indifferent, whatever you'd like to call this. All right, one thing I'd say where I kind of screwed up here, for lack of better words, everything is in the same folder. I want to eventually move that. All right? I'm at least going to try to. We'll see whether or not it works. But what I want to do from here is I want to take the database and I want to use it in 3 different examples. So if you look in here right now, this is version 01. All right, I'm going to do a file, save all right here, and I'm going to quit this. So I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to go over to here, and this is where I've got the course. This is all my stuff that I've created. Oh, hopefully it comes out. There it is. And for my source files, this is the Python DB. So this is what we've been doing. I did demo 1, demo 2, and demo 3. That was the simple stuff. All right. That was the working just with the employees table. All right. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call this employee table demos. All right. And I'm going to put in here demo 1, demo 2, and demo 3. I'm going to move that in there. Okay. Now, this sales orders that we're working on, again, I've got here old, I think, and I don't even know what that is. But just so I keep it, I'll throw it into, one of my old other folders. All right. So we've got version 1 here. I'm going to have a total, if I can do it, of 4 versions. All right. So I'm going to come in here and create a new folder, call it version 0. That's all I'm going to call it for now. Make 2 more copies of it. Why? Because this is going to be version 02. And next is going to be version 03. And finally, we're going to have in here version 04. Now, this first version is the one we just did. Nothing surprising in there. All right, there shouldn't be anything surprising in there. All right, in this second version, what I'm planning on doing is writing 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, I don't know right now, but a bunch of queries where I'm going to ask information from the database. All right, so the only thing what I'm going to want to do in here is I'm going to want to come in and I want to grab the sales orders DB, which as you can see now is not small, 200K. It's not humongous, but it's not small. So let's copy this and let's paste it into here. And let's paste it into here. And let's paste it into here. Now, you've already seen this one, version 1. You've seen this one already. All right, in version 2, what I'm going to do again is I'm going to take the database and I'm going to query it, which means I'm going to ask questions of it. All right, we've done a little bit of this already. We've run queries against it, but I'm going to run queries, and what's going to change in here is, by and large, the queries will be a little bit more complex. And what I'd like to eventually do is do what are called table joins, where I can get information from multiple tables. So that's what I plan on doing in here, in version 2. Then in version 3, what I'd like to do is to write a complete CRUD, create, read, update, delete application that's going to be menu driven. It'll also be non-object oriented. And if I can get that to work, then finally for version 4, I'd like to come back and take version 3 and make it object oriented, which basically means with 8 tables in here, you've seen this now, that with 8 tables here, we're going to have 8 different class files, at least. A customers class, an employees class, an orders class, an order details class, a categories class, a vendors class, a products class, and a product vendors class. That's where I want to go with this. If I get all that done, then what I want to do next is I want to go in and go back and write at least a few of the programs we've done previously, but write them as GUI or graphical user interface applications. Then after doing that, the plan is to go in and start talking about things like Django, D-J-A-N-G-O, and Flask, F-L-A-S-K, and talk about how to build websites using Python and the differences and the similarities between websites using Python and websites with just standard HTML, meaning hypertext markup language, CSS, all right, cascading style sheets, and JavaScript. That's where I want to go. How many total videos that I'll have when I get done, I don't know. In this section right here that I'm working on, this is about the 5th video talking here about this sales orders database. And this is sales orders V1. I'm going to have at least a few for V2, at least a few for V3, and at least a few for V4. Hopefully that makes sense to everyone. All right, so this is where I am. This is where I plan on going. All right, hopefully you got something out of that, and I will talk to you shortly.